I grew up in San Pedro, California. I grew up on the bus route ministry, and we started going to church when I was 8 years old. People from bus route were being faithful and coming to pick me up. Every year I would still go and faithfully go, but then that's when my parents started not going, my brother stopped going. I grew up in a public school my entire life. Never really experienced Christian school, so when I got here to West Coast, everything was just completely different for me. As I stepped onto campus, I felt some type of, okay, I don't know how I feel entirely yet, but then as we toured around campus, I felt a lot of peace that God really wanted me here. So then I continued praying about it to see if it was a confirmation, and eventually God confirmed it for me. After I came to college, God really helped me grow in my maturity with my relationship with Him. And my first year that I was here, I went back home. That's when my mom saw my growth in my relationship with God. She felt convicted, and I brought her back to church. And ever since that first year after I came back, she's been faithfully going to church. We all know the childhood memory times where you want to be something eventually and grow up and everything. And I wanted to be a teacher at first, but then, eventually didn't want to be that anymore. And I had a passion for law and going into criminal justice for immigrants, especially because my parents were immigrants, so I wanted to be able to be of a help in that way. But then my 11th grade year of high school, God called me to full-time ministry, and I wanted to surrender my life for Him and serving Him. And so I continued praying about that, and eventually I was involved a lot with nursery back in my church, and helping out with Sunday schools, classes and everything, and just singing songs to them, and maybe sometimes having a story to tell them. And eventually the Lord drew my heart towards the children's ministry, and so He changed my heart to be an education major. Personally, I really enjoyed teaching elementary history. That was my first teaching class that I ever took before. I've never taught in my entire life. I had Dr. Joselin as my professor, so when I got there, I was super nervous, not thinking like I didn't know anything at all. I had Dr. Joselin really helping me on how to even use my skills and everything. I believe, honestly, the children's ministry overall is important, is being a great influence for the children, because they're the next generation. Children grow up observing other people, and you want to be the right person for them. And honestly, because I didn't necessarily grow up in the best environment, I personally had a burden with having to be that person that a child needs. But I would love to be able to point them back to Jesus and point them back to God, because I want them to be reliant on God and not on the people of the world. They go through a lot of stress without even realizing. And just having that joyful spirit in their life will encourage them to recognize that God gives them that joy. My name is Joselin Salmeron. I am a senior, and I am studying education.